9 a.m. And although not everyone is here, I'm going to call the meeting to order and we'll let folks join us as they can. Patty, you'll take the roll from the participants who are listed on the screen. Is that all right with you?
That's fine. I've already got them. Thank you.
Great, thank you. This is a quarterly meeting of the Dunn County Traffic Safety and Emergency Medical Services Committee. My name is Jim Tripp. I'm the chair of the County Judiciary and Law Committee, and I'm chairing this meeting today. I'll let the other folks introduce themselves as they come up. Randy indicated that we don't have any comments today, and apparently there's a little bit of a problem with live streaming. But we will be recorded for posterity. So as usual, everyone be on your best behavior and, calm down that spit curl and things like that. Very good, Kelly. First order of business, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the December 18th meeting. If you want to raise your hand or say something, I see Scott moves. And Rick seconds. Any questions, additions? If you had a chance, they were in your packet that Patty sent out. Any changes or corrections to the minutes? Again, if you raise your hand or say something, I think I can see everybody on one screen here. Don't see anything. All those in favor of the motion to approve the minutes from the December meeting, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Noting no opposition, the motion carries. Thank you very much. Again, we don't have any public comments unless somebody signed in late. So we'll get right to the order of business of the day, and that's the reports from the Traffic Safety Committee members, starting with Chad Hines, DOT traffic engineer. Chad, yep, there you are. Go ahead, Chad, you've got the floor.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'll go through what we've got upcoming here for 2021 construction. First off, we got a little bit of work yet on I-94 and the Knapp Hill. We got to finish some of the median restoration that we didn't get done last fall. They're looking at starting sometime in April. We don't have a definitive start date yet, but we're guessing they could work anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks worth of work, depending on how long it takes and weather and whatnot. But we're hoping to have everything all done by Memorial Day, so we could be out of there finally for a while. Lane closures will be off peak as what we've done in the past to try and avoid backups. And we're actually gonna demo a new traffic control device out there. It's called the Speed Wizard, where it displays it's a combination of a digital speed board where it shows the posted speed, and then right below it, it shows the traveler's speed. So you got two things going on there, and I guess some other states have tried it, and they've had about anywhere from a 30 to a 70% success rate in getting traffic closer to that lowered reduced speed in a work zone. So we're kind of hopeful that maybe we can get some slower speeds going on out there when we have work going on. So we'll see how that goes. But the next project we got is on Highway 85. We got the Rock Creek Bridge replacement in Rock Falls. It's a 75 working day contract, which would take about 4 months to complete. And right now they're looking at around a May 17th start date. When that bridge is out, it'll be detoured using Highway 10 and Highway 37. The next project, the last project we have on the state system is Highway 170 from Highway 128 in Glenwood City all the way through Boyceville, down in Wheeler, all the way out to County D. It's just a resurfacing project. They're thinking they may get started sometime here in the middle of April, and we have a completion date of October 15th. So it's a long project. There's a lot of work. We got pipe work, sidewalk and curb ramps in Glenwood City, Downing, and Boyceville. And then we got the reconstruction of the Highway 170 and 79 North intersection at the railroad crossing. And Boyceville is going to get their first set of traffic signals with that. So then we got the Highway W Popple Creek Bridge replacement through our local program. Looks like they're thinking they may start around May 17th and done by 9/15. And then we've got a local Pine Creek Bridge replacement in the town of Wilson on 705th Street. That'll be bid here in April. It's a short 35 working day project. But start sometime in June. I guess it kind of depends on who the contractor is that gets it and what their schedules are. I can provide an update on that if I know more in June at the next meeting. I do have one traffic safety thing I want to just kind of get you guys up to speed on. We're looking at submitting a HISA project, a Highway Safety Improvement Program project on Highway 29 and County H at that intersection there. What we're doing is we're looking at putting in an R-cut, which is a restricted crossing U-turn, similar to what we've done if you traveled up on 53 up north, up by Spooner and points north. We've put in a number of them where basically you eliminate that through movement, and then you got to turn right if you're on the side street and then make a U-turn to head left type of thing, or to head, straight through. So we're kind of in the early stages of that here, but I can provide an update on once we get that that application submitted and approved, and we'll be definitely having some public outreach and local officials meetings and stuff like that to get everybody up to speed on that. Anybody have any questions for me?
Is that County H South?
County H South, yep.
Okay.
Any other questions for Chad?
Chad, Billy Ying's Colfax Schools, you mentioned County Road W and Popple Creek Bridge. What was the time frame on that again?
They're looking at starting May 17th and done by September 15th. So hopefully they can get that done a little bit before September 15th, before schools would start.
Thank you.
Yep. Maybe John, do you know any about that since it's on a county or?
No, we haven't heard any of the start dates yet,
Okay.
so we're still waiting to hear.
Okay.
Anything else for Chad? It's your last shot at him until June. Don't see any. Thank you, Chad. Rick, DOT law enforcement. Rick did submit a written report as well, and you should have had that in your packet.
Okay, good morning. I'm just going to briefly go over some of the numbers on here. Did everybody get the report? If not, I can make sure it gets emailed out, but I sent it out yesterday. As you can see, the fatalities last year were up from the previous year. But overall, the other numbers were down, and they were down significantly. Speed-related crashes, teen-related crashes, motorcycle crashes, those are all down significantly from the prior year. Statewide, excuse me, 72 fatalities so far this year compared to 78 last year at the same time. Those numbers are down a little bit. And I just showed a map of where the fatalities for the county for last year, locations where they occurred. And then on the 5-year crash history, the first crash being the one on Double B on that curve. I did notice that there were 2 fatalities and 15 overall crashes in that location over the past 5 years. And below that, I pulled up just the basic information showing the dates and times of all those crashes. Looks like the trees there seem to be a very kind of a magnet for vehicles there. So I don't know if that's something the county has looked at in the past, or I don't know the area. Can't
Rick,
say I've ever.
we're currently working with that property owner to
Okay.
remove some of those trees, because we've noticed that same thing, and we've made attempts over the years. And I think now we're finally getting to to common ground here on getting some of those removed.
Okay, good. It's just something we try to look at any fatal crash or some of the A crashes is, what's the history there? And, when you can see the number of vehicle versus tree crashes, it kind of does, bring it to attention. I'm glad to see that you guys are working on it, and hopefully the landowner will let you do something with it. And the next one just shows the interstate crash. Not a high number for that area. When I looked at the rest of the interstate in that area, the one fatality overall, 21 crashes in that same direction. On the next page, I looked at the predictive analytics showing what are the top four crash probability locations using 3 years worth of data. I think we've pretty much had the same area. The Menominee area seems to always come to the top. Numbers aren't real high when you look at some of those. I had some in other counties where it'll show 15 crashes in an area, and 10 or 12 of those are speed or alcohol related. These didn't have, other than area 2 does show pedestrians and bikes being a high number, but that's around the university, so that I don't think that's a real, I don't want to say surprise, but I don't think that's real unusual. And then looking at the next one, I just looked at the things that law enforcement specifically can make an impact on, that being speed, distracted driving, alcohol, drugs, and seat belts or safety equipment, and looked at just over the next 90 days, where can we expect to see crashes? And again, they're in Menominee in the area of the university. Targeting, the county is targeted for the speed grant. Scott, I'm not sure if you guys have accepted that, or I think Mike should have reached out to you recently to give you some numbers on dollar amounts, because I think those were all just pushed out.
Yes, they were.
Okay. And then crash mapping, you guys are doing fabulous. I mean, there's very few crashes that are not mapped, and these are just non-car deer reportable crashes. The next one that's had a DT 4000, this came up because there are crashes where there's a question as to why it isn't flagged as an alcohol or drug related crash. And what we found is, for anybody that knows what the old crash report was like, the MV 4000, it used to say alcohol present and drugs present. The DT 4000 says suspected alcohol or suspected drug. The difference being, when it said alcohol present, if at the time of the crash you didn't have any outward indications of drugs or alcohol, most likely it would be a serious injury crash or a fatality where you don't necessarily have the face-to-face contact. With the old form, if you said, I don't have any reason to, I don't know about alcohol, I don't know about drugs, and the result came back with a positive test, you could go in and change the alcohol presence or drug presence. Here, where it says suspected, I mean, if you didn't suspect it at the time of the crash, does a positive result change your suspicions? And there's some discussion back and forth about that, but the only time it flags drugs or alcohol is on that highlighted field, the suspected alcohol or suspected drug use. It does not flag it on the results. So most commonly, it would be in a fatal crash where there's no suspected alcohol or drug use, but then the test results come back and show a positive. So you would put in, that the alcohol result was, 0.10 or whatever. That won't change the flag as an alcohol crash. So they're working on that to see if we can pull it from more than one location. In the past, when the wording was different, it was easier, but now they're working on that. So if you do notice that, that's the reason why it's not coming up.
Rick?
Yep.
Kyle from the State Patrol here, the Technical Reconstruction Unit. In going back to flagging that DT 4000 for an individual, involved in the fatal crash. If it is the fatal person and we do not do the blood draw, the blood results do not go on the DT-4000 at all. I didn't know if that's what you were touching at, or if you find the results coming back from a person who's involved in the fatal, we put the results on there. The fatal person doesn't get any results on the crash form.
That's maybe not, maybe that's agency specific, because I know a lot of agencies, when the medical examiner comes back with a blood test, they update the DT-4000.
And that's supposed to be according to the rules and how it was designed. And I thought it was a flaw. It makes sense to do it that way. But in the help manual, it was for, if the test was given, it was given by law enforcement.
Okay.
We've been trying to add a box for test given by like a medical examiner or something like that, but it costs mucho dinero to
Of course.
get that changed.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's
So
why
then,
we may be missing some data in there.
yeah. And even if it's a, you know, where you have an unconscious person and you don't necessarily have the suspicion, but you test them, say a surviving driver.
Surviving, yeah, they'll get the reports, but if they're dead at the scene, it doesn't go on the report, which is kind of a bummer.
I may have to check with a lot of agencies, because I can tell you at least a dozen of the agencies I cover are doing that. And I don't use the crash report myself, so I don't, you know, I retired a number of years ago, so I'll look into that and make sure that that gets corrected. Because I
Cool,
know
thank
any change to that is like thousands of dollars.
Yeah, it's about $5,000 per field.
Yeah, so, okay, thank you. Mobilizations, we have Click It or Ticket coming up May 24th to June 6th. Mike will be getting information out to the agencies about that. Legislative updates, there are a ton of changes and a lot of things with the legislature right now that are going on specific to alcohol sales and distribution. There's things on marijuana, there's some on a lot of law enforcement specific. So what we're asking is that members go actually on the community maps page under TSC resources and take a look at the legislative summary. That page normally gets updated at least once or twice a week to try and follow a lot of the legislature that is being proposed, and then the ones that are going through various committees and hearings. Next one is the Governor's Conference on Highway Safety is August 17th to the 19th. It'll be virtual. My understanding is that the sessions will be in the morning and then work groups will be in the afternoon. More information should be coming out about that in the next month or so. Next one is the safety recalls. Last week was the vehicle safety recall week. We're finding that a lot of people aren't even aware that there are recalls on their vehicle. 25% are significant safety concerns that are never repaired. And a lot of that is because people don't know that they can go online and just enter their VIN number and get the recalls. So we're asking that agencies promote that on their Facebook pages and on their websites. Speaking of websites, the next one is Zero in Wisconsin. That's been updated. There's a lot of information that has been updated if you're looking for resources or information for any press releases or things that you might want to do. And the last one is the usual one about the crash data analysis. If you have specific information you'd like, you can simply email them and they will get the information to you, usually within a couple of days. And then my contact information. So if there's any questions, I can try and answer them now. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Next on the agenda is Mike Marks from Railroad. I don't see anybody from the railroad here. So we will move along then to Highway Safety Coordinator, Scott McRoberts. Scott, you're up.
All righty. Going back through the crashes since our last meeting, I started with December 2nd on through March 7th. We handled here at the Sheriff's Office 87 crashes, 1 deer crash involved in those, 21 multi-vehicle crashes, 66 single vehicle crashes, 28 crashes with injuries, and a total of 38 persons injured in those crashes. As Rick noted, we had one fatal that the county handled, and that was January 3rd, early morning hours between 1 and 2 roughly, on County Double B north of US 12. A 2008 GMC Envoy was being operated northbound on 390th Street, which is commonly known as Rudiger Road, by an adult male. The vehicle was traveling at a very high rate of speed, did not stop for the stop sign at US 12. Vehicle continued northbound onto County Double B over the railroad tracks, drove off the curve, striking some trees, and then rolled into a field. The driver was the only occupant of the vehicle. He was pronounced dead at the scene. He was not wearing a seatbelt. Factors involved were speed, driver condition, and there was fog noted as well. I do not have a toxicology back yet, but we suspect there's going to be alcohol on board on that one. Other than those trees, as this vehicle's northbound approaching that intersection, we certainly didn't feel there's any road factors or factors to consider at that intersection, other than once you get beyond it, if you don't stop at the stop sign, traveling at that kind of speed. So we will be submitting our operational plan for the upcoming speed enforcement grant that Rick had mentioned as well. That's going to run June through August, and we'll also participate in Click It or Ticket coming up in May. That's all I have.
Any questions for Scott? Won't see any. Thank you, Scott. John Swirsky, Highway Department.
I'm just going to kind of touch on what Chad touched on. We do have two local bridges going this year, the Pine Creek Bridge in town of Wilson, and then the County Trunk W Bridge. Both of those will go this summer. As far as county construction, we're going to do the next leg of County Trunk J towards 79, and then we're going to work on the middle part of County Trunk V up in the Ridgeland area. So as far as winter construction or winter maintenance, we got quite a salt sand pile left over and quite a stash of salt in the sheds yet, which is a good deal. We're going to reach out to the townships now and see if anybody wants to stock up their salt sheds. That'll be a little bit less that we're responsible for covering here as the weather gets nicer. We're in the process now of redoing any of the cable stay and the beam guard out on the interstate and some of the other roads where due to slide ins and such, some of our infrastructure was damaged a little bit. Road bans went on in effect here on the 8th of March, 12:01 a.m. Right now we have quite a bit of top thaw. We're down 18 to 24 inches from the surface. We were as far as 42 to 60 inches in depth. We're getting some bottom thaw too. Right now there's only about an 18 to 24 inch layer, approximately 18 to 24 inches below the ground. I anticipate road bans being on here about another week and a half, 2 weeks. And then with this rain coming now next week, that should pull the frost out of there and get going there. Otherwise, as it's been drying up now, we've been doing a lot of hand patching. The 2 spray trucks have been pulled out of winter storage, and we're going to start spray patching here probably within the next week or so as the weather cooperates. So otherwise, kind of just gearing up here for spring. That's all I have.
Thank you, John. Any questions for John? If not, Kelly from Highway Committee, do you have anything to add to what John had to say?
No, John covered everything that I could think of.
All right. Last chance. Okay.
Jim, I got one more comment.
Go ahead, John.
We're in the design phase of the county trunk. There are 2 county trunk B projects. The one from south of the interstate to 1229, and then we ended up getting that portion with the MLS funding, basically by the 2 truck stops to the north. Both those phases are in design. South was scheduled for 2022. The north was scheduled for 2023. Right now, we're working with our consultant and the DOT possibly to push both of them back to 2023. And the reason for that is if they're both done in the construction year 2023, we feel we can save, right now they're guessing 250 to 300,000 just on temporary signals and traffic control. So since we did the mill and fill and it's holding up quite well on the south, I think this is a great thing, not only to save, 250 and 300,000 is real money, but we're in good enough condition now with that mill and fill repair to nurse us along. And then that also gives us another full year to kind of round up our local funds for our 20% share. So that's just kind of an update. 2023 was kind of pushed in on the north end because we're working with the railroad, and everybody knows when you work with the railroad, it just takes a little bit longer. So that's just an update on the 2B project. So we probably are going to have to do some hand patching on the north intersection, but south is holding up quite well, and that's the update on both Bs.
Thank you, John. Kelly, any reaction to the budget implications?
Delight.
Yeah. Anytime somebody says saving $250,000, my ears perk up. Thank you, John. Any questions? Anything else for John? All right, then, is there anybody here from Menominee Police? Don't believe so. Wisconsin State Patrol, Sergeant Bell, I see his box lit up down there. I don't see his
Oh,
smiling
can you hear me?
face, but yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Since the beginning of the year, we responded or handled 33 total crashes, one fatal. That would have been on Interstate 94 near the Elk Mound area. Early morning hours, speed and control of the vehicle were the factors, and a seatbelt. That would have been February 22nd. We have been doing some airspeed details in the county. We've done 2 so far in that Knapp Hill area, pretty much from milepost 30, between 35 and 37. And we'll continue to do those through the end of the year. I believe we should be doing about 3 to 5 more. And then also we are assigning troopers to most predictive analytic zones right in the city of Menominee area as well. And that's all I have.
Any questions? Sergeant Bell? Never did see his smiling face, but glad to hear the report. I always like to see faces on here. This is my only social outlet, so you folks are important to me. And that was true before the pandemic, by the way. School administrators, Bill, you're up.
Good morning, everyone. Couple things, Colfax, we've got a parking lot project going on this summer on the west side of the building. I talked to Eric in Elk Mound yesterday, and he just asked, we shared, they've got their building construction starting next month, so they're going to have increased activity and construction and all that around the Elk Mound schools. So that's all I have school specific. I would like to just a couple shout outs. John, I just want to say you did a great job with the roads since the last meeting too. So keeping them cleared, that's been a good thing. And I do want to thank the law enforcement for everything everybody's doing here. Continues to be a tough time in law enforcement, and Scott and State Patrol and our locals. You guys are dealing with a lot of tough stuff, I think, and just on top of everything else. So and I'm speaking on behalf of the Dunn County School Superintendents with that. So I think if everyone knew what this committee reviews and looks at for the safety of everyone, they might have a little different outlook on a lot of different things. So that's all I have, barring any questions.
Questions for Bill? I just want to comment, since the last meeting when we had a little bit of a discussion about vehicles passing stopped school buses, that's been more at the top of my mind. And I think it was on Channel 11 Care News out of the cities. they did a little thing the other day and they showed some video of vehicles narrowly missing kids who were crossing the road. I still just find it so difficult to believe or understand that somebody's going to pass a stop school bus with their red lights flashing. That's incredible to me. Anyway, that's a little bit of an aside and off the topic, but thank you, Bill. I don't have anything from the Dunn County Board. Kelly, can you, there have been a few changes to the ATV routes. I know, did you want to say anything about that?
No, I think it's well, it's just the typical adding a few county roads to the county road segments to the ATV routes to help get it better interlinked. Just the annual round.
Pretty minor stuff, but requires ordinance changes. Thank you, Kelly. Any community members here? I've got Ryan Howe listed, but I don't see a Ryan anywhere. Anybody else, a community member that would like to comment? This is your big chance.
I think you might have missed the Department of Natural Resources. I see
Oh.
Jamie's on.
I did miss department. Thank you, Mary. I didn't see anybody from DNR here either, is there?
Hey, this is Jamie McDermott,
Oh, there's
warden out
Jay.
of Dunn
I'm
County.
sorry.
No problem. I don't really have anything for the good of the group.
Oh, you gotta have something now.
Nothing from a law enforcement perspective, at least. The woods are wet and the ticks are coming out. That's as much as I can say.
Okay, my apologies, Jamie. I just missed you there.
No problem.
Thank you. If not, we will proceed to section 6 on the agenda, which is medical emergency reports. Is Jenny here from the Red Cross? Now, see, you got me double checking because I don't see anybody. First responders. Any first responders? Shanna or anyone else? Don't see anyone there. Mary, then I guess it's your turn. Thank you, by the way, for bringing that to my attention.
All right, thank you. I did send a copy of what I'm presenting today to the group just before this meeting, but from a COVID perspective, our numbers are declining. We're really heavy into the vaccination clinics, and we've been pretty busy here in Menominee. We've done over 200 each day this week. So we're at that 65 and older. Next week, we'll be hitting that 16 to 64, and Mayo Clinic will be starting with 60 and over, and then individuals with certain diagnoses, active cancer, sickle cell, Down syndrome, or transplant patients. So just hoping we can continue to get the number of vaccines that we have been able to get. Typically, we request 4,000 and we get 2,000. So trying to distribute that throughout our region is a bit of a challenge, and trying to get as many people vaccinated as possible. Truly encourage your family, friends, neighbors to get vaccinated. We really need that 85% for that herd immunity. We've done a fairly large push and campaign within our employee base to post a picture of themselves masking and getting the shot, and why they mask and why they vaccinate. So encourage others to do that as well. Today we have 10 inpatients in our region, which is a pretty low number. And we are testing roughly 100 patients here in Menominee a week with single-digit positivity rates. So anywhere from 4 to 7% positivity rates. So that's really positive. And then just to kind of toot our own horn, Mayo Clinic Health System Red Cedar was named top 100 critical access hospitals this year. Again, we've received this award many years, but we are always proud of the work that our teams do here, our providers and staff, and really keeping the needs of the patient first. So it's a huge honor for us, and we like to celebrate those small things. So I think that's it for me. Any questions?
Just an addition there. The 1C shots are getting out to a few folks. I know people who are scheduled Monday and Tuesday of next week.
Yeah, next week is when we will be hitting that group. Correct.
I have a question. I don't know that there's an answer to specifically, but does the medical community have any idea about the level of COVID infection that has gone unreported? Where people have had COVID, never went to a doctor, never reported, never were tested. Do we have
You
any
know-
idea what that level might be? And the reason I ask is because those people who have had COVID may have some level of immunity from infection. They may have some limited, it might impede their ability to pass it on. I'm not real sure, but do we have any idea what those numbers might be like?
You know, I don't. That'd probably be a good question for KT Gallagher. I see she's probably not on the call today, but that'd be a good question for her. I know various groups have done antibody testing. So Mayo did antibody testing, gosh, quite a while ago, and there was a very, very low number of people that had the antibody.
Okay.
So meaning
That would
they-
indicate that
had
they
it but
had
didn't
been
get tested.
infected previously.
Right, correct. Yeah, so we had a very, very low number of people that had the antibody. And even if somebody had it, it's the antibody lasts in your body roughly 90 days. So,
Okay.
yeah, so if you've had COVID, you still should get immunized, especially if it's been within, if you've had it 3 months ago.
Thank you.
We're also, so Mayo typically has been getting the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccine, and there's been a lot of discussion about the Johnson & Johnson or the Janssen vaccine. And what we're hearing is efficacy is good with all of those vaccines, all those different options. And the Janssen one is a single dose versus a double dose or 2 doses. And also we're hearing that the reaction for people to the vaccine is pretty minimal with all of them. And, the symptoms last for a day or 2 at most for most people. So.
That was my experience. Mild symptoms for a day, and now I'm perfect. Anything else for Mary? Thank you. Moving on, I don't see KT Gallagher, so we'll move to disasters, and Steve Findley is standing in for Melissa Gellenbach today. Steve, what do you have?
Hi.
For
Yeah, good morning. No, I have nothing to pass from the emergency management or the emergency communications department right now. Thank you.
Okay. One of these days, we're going to get your title on this changed from disasters to something else. But I do kind of like that, but it maybe is not appropriate. Highway traffic safety. Scott, you're up again.
Nothing to report.
Okay. You're sure?
Yep.
Fire department. Who did I see? Yeah, there's Denny.
Good morning. Nothing to report from the fire department, other than a shout out to the county and the city for road maintenance this winter and the lack of crashes that we went to during bad weather. Much appreciated.
I suppose we're getting into that spring grass fire season too, aren't we?
We are. We were up north of 170 on Saturday for a couple acres that burned. And then yesterday, I believe, up on 906th Street, just north of 29. I think they had 4 or 5 departments up there on that one. So,
Well, be careful out there, folks. Any questions for Denny? Thank you, Denny. UW Extension, you probably saw Katie's note. She is unable to attend, but noted that spring planting season is close upon us, and you can expect to see more agricultural vehicles out on the roads. So that's always a little reason for a little extra caution. That concludes the reports. Item number 7, we do have, I see a couple of folks who joined the meeting who aren't on the agenda. Kyle from State Patrol, Chad from Elk Mound. Do you have anything for us? Any concerns or comments that you'd like to share?
I got my
Kyle,
2 cents in already.
Okay. Chad?
No, just first time caller sitting in, seeing what all we have to offer. And I probably, as you are aware, our village has also experienced some issues with speeding, whether it's on Holly Avenue, County Trunk Highway H, or Menominee Street, US Highway 12. I think our village president has probably been in contact with county entities as that. A shout out to Captain McRoberts. We are excited and looking forward to that speed grant opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Chad, and welcome to the meeting. Always happy to have you with us. I don't have anything to place before the committee. I don't think there's any unfinished business. Are there other committee concerns? Seeing none. Finished up a little early today. Our next meeting date is June 18th at 9 a.m. It'll be 79 degrees that day and sunny. Actually, weather's been pretty nice this spring. I'm not going to complain at all. Thanks to all of you folks for your time and efforts and your participation in the committee. We appreciate it. Thanks to John for hosting the meeting, and Randy for tech support, and Patty for taking the minutes and providing the staff support. So thanks to all of you folks. We'll see you in a couple of months. Be safe, be well, and I'll see you in June.
Thanks. Happy Friday.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Thank you.